As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and here we go. For today's Let's Talk Jinx, which we do every Wednesday, it's patch 13.6 notes. And even though there's no direct changes to Jinx, for the first time, there's still a lot of changes that might affect Jinx regardless. So we're going to talk about those. One of the first ones, of course, is Melio is the new support coming to the Rift. We'll do a more dedicated video probably about them and how they match up with Jinx, or how they match up if they're paired with Jinx in the bottom lane in another video, but they will be hitting the Rift, so you will be seeing them in your games if they make it through pick and ban. But Ashe, for example, the Jinx Ashe matchup, Ashe did get a buff. The passive damage to targets with Frost is being increased because they kind of want Ashe to be an AD carry instead of a support. So they keep kind of buffing Ashe's like crit chances that are built into her kit. What this means is the same thing it meant last time we actually talked about this, I think, in the last patch, is that, just watch out for the passive trading when the passive Frost shot is up, because it's going to have a bit more extra crit chance on it. And the thing about this ability is it has crit, if I recall, already in it, and then building crit items just makes that crit stronger. So unlike Jinx, who doesn't have crit built into her kit, Ashe does. However, you still are going to attack pretty fast with a minigun if they're trading, but they do have the slow, so watch out for that. So you might want to play it depending on your support, because if you have a hard engaged support and the Ashe is trying to run you down, Ashe is as immobile as you are, and that's going to be a problem if like you have a Leona or like Nautilus or something, if Ashe plays around a bit too much. So ideally you really wouldn't actually see this be too much of a problem until they're building crit items though, however, because even with no crit items, even with a little bit of crit that this ability can kind of do, it's not a lot. And even in the early, it's not like the old days of like having a rune that was a crit rune that might win you the lane early. So it's like minor, but it's still something to note in case you're like, hey, that's a bit faster or a bit more damage than I was expecting. There you go. Vayne is an interesting one because basically the passive bonus movement speed is being increased, the Q bonus damage is being increased, the empowered attack duration is being increased, and the W damage is being increased. And in Riot's words, Vayne's kind of just been struggling in all brackets because her passive hasn't stood the test of time. Her passive is the one where it lets her run faster when she's chasing a target, which defeats the purpose of running away if she can just chase you faster. It's a little bit annoying, I'm going to be honest, because like, I'm already like retreating. Just let me retreat in peace. I already have to take the L that I'm leaving, just let me leave. But with that being said, mobility creep, that thing that Riot used to argue didn't exist? Yeah, it exists. So bonus movement speed on the passive isn't what it used to be, and so now it's going up. It's going from 30 to 45 because things are a lot more mobile than they used to be. Vayne is also getting the Q bonus damage being increased, the empower attack duration is being decreased, and the W damage is adjusted. So targets maximum health, for example. It looks like it's actually more early and less late, which is interesting because even as an AD carry, especially with the Bloodthirster Rush, you're probably going to have more health later. So this is more if we're dealing with tanks, I'm imagining, which actually makes a lot of sense because Vayne is someone you actually get to shred through armor and magic resist because you just do health percent damage, which negates both of those and doesn't matter. And it's really annoying when you're playing as a tank against this champion. And then the tumble. Oh, we're about to accidentally combine these words. The bonus physical damage is going up, and the empowered attack durations go from 7 to 8 seconds. What does this all mean for the Vayne Jinx matchup? You might be wondering. It's like, hey, hold on, this is a Jinx video. Yeah, this is how it works. We go over the changes first, and then we talk about them versus Jinx. Honestly, like we mentioned with Ashe, Jinx is immobile, so running away from this champion just got a little bit harder. Save your flame chompers. Unless you can predict where the Vayne's tumbling, because that's always funny when you throw out the flame chompers and they tumble right into them because they're thinking they're being like double lift and they're just not. That's funny. The Q tumble damage, however, is going to be a bit more up than it was. 80% was its old max rank, is going to be 115%. The empowered attack duration is going from 7 seconds, however, to 3 seconds. So they have a lot less in that window to attack with. So they really need to be proactive, and it's probably because the movement speed is going up by 15 too, so they can probably get in position a bit better. Well, the Silver Bolts, one of the things you want to stay away from if you're a newer player is don't fight Vayne, or don't just be near walls. Vaynes love to try and shoot you into the wall. No, I'm just kidding. Vaynes like to use W as like a finishing move for some reason. It's like Caitlyn's who like to use their ult as an opening move when they have like no items built. It makes no sense. But for the good Vaynes, they like to use the W to put you into a wall, which will stun you, which will allow you to get CC'd, even if they don't even have a CC, in a support that you have to deal with. So if nothing else with all these changes, stay away from walls. Make it so you can always have that option to either dive in on them or to run away, because to have more movement speed, you're going to need that. Honorable mention to Veigar only in the range that he was being played bottom lane quite successfully, so his base health is going down and his base armor is going down. You probably will not see him in the bottom lane too much, at least as the main, attack, damage carry or AP mage kind of a thing. If you see him down there, he'll probably be relegated back to support, or he's going to take his butt back to mid lane. But just in case you still see him and you've been annoyed by him, he is getting some nerfs. The Jinx Veigar matchup, I'm not too fresh on, I'll be completely honest, but less health and less armor, and you have AD, means you're probably gonna hurt him a bit more. Yuumi, honorable mention, Yuumi's dead, and they're trying to resurrect her like slowly. That thing they do where they slowly give power back, kind of. They lost a lot of offensive threat, basically. The Q cooldown's being decreased now, the mana cost, however, is being increased, the missile speed is being decreased, the range is being decreased, the R shield duration's added, but the bonus resistances are being decreased, so Yuumi's kind of still dead. Items. Now this is the one that might affect Jinx. So a lot of people were rushing Bloodthirster first. They don't like that. They don't like that AD carries are able to survive, basically. How nice, right? So the shield is going from 180 to 450 to 100 to 400. However, 180 up to level 9, then plus 30 per level, to 100 at level 8, and then plus 30 per level. So it's an overall net nerf at all levels, basically. Once you hit, well, I guess it's a little bit of buff, because at level 8, then you start the plus 30 thing. So you have an extra level of plus 30 that you didn't before, but it overall comes out as 50 less. So it's still a nerf, even if you do the math. If you try and even like be like, oh, that looks like it's worded positively, it's not. I don't really think Jinx was rushing Bloodthirster first to try and survive in this economy, but if you were, yeah, just keep a note that they don't like that. So if it keeps being a thing, this isn't enough, they're gonna nerf it again. Yay, I say sarcastically. Runes, meanwhile, so Bloodline is the most picked ADC rune in the legendary slot by far, and it's contributed to ADCs being generally tanky instead of an opting into durability when it's needed. The rune is meant to be a choice, not automatic. That's not, no. Okay, so here's my problem, right? No. If you wanted things to be a choice and not automatic, we'd have a mix of the new rune system and the old rune system, where we could actually pick a kind of a variety of things and or go all in on a stat like in the old days. That's not the case. There's only like 3 or 4 legend runes, so like it kind of is a, automatic. You gotta have something. And if lethal tempo and stuff ain't up to par, then why not get Bloodline? Because it's like, well, why not? But anyways, I'm being super biased, of course. Lifesteal stack per stack is going from 0.4 to 0.35, and max health on 15 stacks is going from 100 to 85. So they're trying to kind of decouple basically Bloodthirster and Bloodline, because it was a combo that people were using. Lethal Tempo, meanwhile, is similar to Bloodline. Lethal Tempo is the most picked rune for ADCs by a long shot. See, this is my problem with you, Riot. How is this one the automatic choice, but this is the automatic choice? There's only so many we can pick from. So you're basically saying, hey, I have like the 3 options, really. 2 of them are being picked more than the third one, so we're going to nerf the other 2. That's what you're basically saying. Instead of buffing the other one, what you're basically saying is we nerf these 2, all 3 are about even. Just word it like that even. That's all I'm saying. Just word it like that. Don't act like we're stupid. We're AD carries. We're not stupid. We're depressed. There's a difference. Anyways, similar to Bloodline, Lethal Tempo is the most picked ADC rune by a long shot, which makes it a good target for removing power and a large roll. The attack speed for range users, which, like Jinx, is going from 30% to 54% to 24% to 54%. So at max level, it hit that 54% at level 12. It's still going to hit that 54%, but not until level 18. Yikes. Okay. There's some dragon changes. We're going to scroll down. ARAM, not so much. And then really we get into like bug fixes and stuff like that. I guess honorable mention, 32-bit, go to 64-bit client if you haven't already. Windows, there you go. And then honorable mention to the upcoming skin. So Fairy Queen Karma, if you see Karma support, people are going to want to be playing that. It might be a main of the champion or someone that just really likes this skin. It looks good. Fairy Court Seraphine. So again, Seraphine, you might see support Seraphine in your games because people are going to be playing the skin. Fairy Court Callista and Fairy Court Ezreal. Fairy Court, I should be saying. I am saying it, but I'm saying it so fast it sounds like fairy anyways. I'm sorry. Anyways, Callista and Ezreal might be 2 AD carries you see in the first couple days of the new patch just because this is a thing. These skins are a thing and people might want to play them, as always. Emilio, again, they're getting a skin, but they're also just a new champion, so you're going to see them. They're also a support. So the bot lane is going to see some new faces, at least for the first couple days, probably. Maybe even Shin support, probably not, but he does have the skin. And then, of course, they got Prestige Fairy Court Katarina, which looks amazing, I will say. So that is all of the changes that might affect Jinx. If something of an AD carry tier list, The tier list does change, I feel, a little bit from the last time we talked about it, because we didn't talk about Vayne last time. And I do think these changes are good for Vayne in the new, more mobile League of Legends world that we exist in. It's a little bit annoying to play against if you're not mobile, because Jinx isn't a mobile champion all that much, so then that's like, oh, that sucks. But I get it, you know, there's a lot more even mobile things in the bottom lane. And so I think Vayne moves up. If you had Vayne at like C tier, I think Vayne could legitimately move up to like B tier at minimum, because if nothing else, basically her strengths have been buffed. Her problem in the whole meta, essentially, was that her weaknesses were bad, but her strengths were also bad, and Riot's decided to buff her strengths. So leaving her weaknesses means she can still be counterplayed to some extent, but then giving her strengths in what's modern day League of Legends should allow her to be a lot better than she has been for a while. Ashe, meanwhile, I think stays in the exact same spot. People still like Ashe for various reasons. It's not really an AD carry, but Yuumi's still dead. Yuumi's definitely still dead. And then Jinx, who's been struggling. I don't know, of course, someone who's played Jinx for like almost 10 years, I'm never going to really say she's struggling. Especially doing a YouTube channel about Jinx, I'm going to say she's fine, that's my job. But I will say that Jinx wasn't really one of the Bloodthirster rushing AD carries, so I don't actually see Jinx moving down with the Bloodthirster nerf. What I see moving down with the Bloodthirster nerf are things like Jhin, Draven even, because Draven, you know, they like life steals before all this was a thing. Any of those kind of champions that were, especially probably lane bullies that want to sustain a bit more. Even Caitlyn maybe, because I've seen Caitlyn in pro play doing it. But not Jinx. I think Jinx stays where she is. Or by default, with all these other AD carries that were relying on Bloodthirster moving down, she might move up just because she wasn't doing that and she's what's left. You know what I mean? So with that being said, that's all for this video from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to always like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, the actual subscribe button. But I don't know which video will be next, because life can have a lot of kinks. So until this time, take care. ggGetJinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.